So, hi, my name is Theo. I would love to directly start with a discussion because there were so many interesting points in the last two presentations, but I have to keep it anyway short so that we have an option for a Q&A. In the end, yeah, I'm founder of Freimeisterkollektiv. It's a network of independent craft distillers based here in Berlin. I also founded the Craft Spirits Berlin Festival. Fair and award competition, actually the biggest one for craft spirits in Europe. And I want to keep it quite short. Last year I was invited by Park Street and I did an overview over the German craft spirits market. Today actually I thought it's maybe more interesting to just take a couple of ideas and just share some thoughts about craft spirits and how different craft spirits are actually in Europe. Here I show you a photo of two different distilleries, these two different distilleries are very old school alembic stills, but in certain details absolutely different. On the left side, it's a French distillery, and on the right side, it's a distillery based in Germany. And the left distillery, although the distilling technique is basically the same as the one in Germany, couldn't be in Germany at all, because simply in Germany, a distillery the license for a distillery is connected to the property where the distillery is. Whereas in France, due to regulations, very often distilling is a service offered to, in this case, winemakers, and where they have the option to bring their wine, or where the distillery actually goes to the winery. They take the still to the winery and distill on the property of the winemaker a spirit. This would be absolutely impossible in Germany. Every custom officer would drop dead if they would have to deal with this. So these minor things lead also to different traditions. It is very often different ways of regulating alcohol consumption lead to different traditions. And we know, of course, before Prohibition, we had the gin craze in the 18th century, where a lot of regulation was done through taxation and also by controlling the production. And I picked one, I think, kind of interesting phenomenon in the history of distilling, and that's from the eastern Switzerland, where it's basically the same region as cultural region as the German part, where a lot of eau-de-vie distillers are, and they try to fight moonshining eau-de-vies by eliminating fruit trees. And they did this from the 1950s till the late 70s, mid 70s. And it was absolutely crazy. There was like a gang of lumberjacks driving through the country, and where they were cutting down and mostly actually blowing up fruit trees in an incredible amount. They are estimating that there are around 11 million fruit trees were blown up in actually just a tiny part of Switzerland, just to avoid moonshining fruit eau-de-vies. There was in Switzerland in the late 19th century the so-called Kartoffelschnapspest, translated potato booze plague. And they tried to regulate the production of cheap potato liquor. But then, of course, by doing that, a lot of farmers started to distill more and more eau-de-vie, and also, of course, then grow more and more fruit trees. And then in the 30s, they changed that law, so also fruit eau de vie had to be taxed, and then they started to cut down trees. Here, for instance, you see two aerial photos of the same area. The one is from the late 40s, and the same area how it looked in the 70s. So you can see how much actually this changed the whole environment of a region. So basically, this is on the Lake Constance. The upper part you see on this image is Switzerland. The lower part is Germany, the German shore. And also in the German shore area, you have a tradition of fruit eau de vie. And that's where they regulated the production of fruit eau de vie by actually doing the exact opposite as we saw before with the photo of the French distilleries, so that only people who are actually owning fruit trees are allowed to distill, and not you couldn't go with your apples to a distillery and get them distilled. You have these so-called Streuobstwiesen still existing in this area. Of course, more and more they are also reduced to land consolidation, but they still exist. And this is a very, very important part for the southern German tradition of fruit eau de vie distillation. Nowadays, you have also different organizations trying to protect these Streuobstwiesen. Streuobstwiesen means translated fruit meadow, scattered fruit trees meadows. And there are initiatives also funded by the UNESCO to save these biotopes of fruit trees, because it's not only important for the flora, but also for the fauna. The situation in Germany, I just want to go into it shortly, is very different, as we heard, from the one in Italy. Instead of 150 distilling license, we still have 18,000 small distilling license here, plus on top 900 something distilleries which can distill a higher quantity. These 18,000 distilleries are usually fruit eau de vie distillers, and they have to have a couple of fruit trees to keep the license. The license, as I said before, is connected to the property, and they are only allowed to distill 300 liters of ethanol per year. This is like a typical fruit eau de vie still, like you will find this in many places in southern Germany, and here it's the difference between so-called Lohnbrenner, which is basically a distiller who gets paid for distilling ingredients who somebody else brings to him, or what is very important for the German tradition, the so-called Stoffbesitzer. It's the distiller who owns the ingredients he or she distills. Just a second thought I wanted to share with you about how to scale craftsmanship. And I think this is something which is really important for craft distillers as we are. If a craft brand becomes successful, it's hardly a handmade product anymore. So we thought when we started the Freimeisterkollektiv that we have to find a way to keep on producing craft spirits, but still being able to scale our brand. And by doing that, we created a network of different distillers. I see one sitting actually over there, Lisa. She's from Estonia. She's doing a vodka for us. So the idea is to, instead of growing a distillery, to grow a network of distillers who are producing different products for the Freimeisterkollektiv. So this is a very important way for us to grow our brand by growing the network of producers instead of growing the distilleries and becoming eventually an industrialized distillery. So this is something which is really important to keep the craft spirits really an artisanal product and not an industrial product. Yeah, so we also really try to focus on our distillers who we work with as if they are authors. So we also show them on the label of our products and really tell the story of their craftsmanship and of their creativity. So these are the way the products we work. These are the my contact details. So please feel free to contact me